Here are the 10 most lucrative farming business ideas to launch in Africa this 2024 and make millions for yourself. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Elvin Jake and my mission is to make sure that you attain your financial independence as soon as possible. The farming business ideas I am going to be talking here about, some of them you might have been aware of them, but the others are actually going to come as a surprise to you. Before doing that, I am glad to announce to you that we've officially launched our Patreon alongside our membership, where you can subscribe for a token in order to help grow this channel. And by doing so, you're going to be helping us produce better videos for the channel, and in return, you are going to be benefiting from some perks such as special videos dedicated to you that are not here for the general public, and also you're going to be benefiting from discount on our projects and courses, and you're also going to be benefiting from the expertise of our team that is going to be following up your projects and mentoring you for free. And on there, you also get access to unlimited one-on-one consultations with us and many more. So you could just check in the description box or in our about page and click on our Patreon to get access to the offers. In that light, I would love to specially thank our members. We've gotten our 3 first members already, and we are excited to embark on this special journey with you. And I can't wait to have you guys there. That said, let's get into the video. The first farming idea I will be bringing forth to you here is something that a lot of people never think about, but which is a very lucrative sector. We are talking here of mushroom farming. If you didn't know, in 2020, the global mushroom market made a profit of $16 billion and is expected to reach 22 billion by the year 2028. So if you've never thought of mushroom, this is the time for you to start thinking of such products, because the good thing with mushroom is that it could be dried and sold later on. Also, it is highly exported. All you need to master is the type of mushroom preferred in your area, or if you want to export it, you could as well study the type of mushroom your target clients consume. So are you going for the oyster mushroom, portobello mushroom, or the porcini mushroom? Your target clients is actually Africans. I would advise you go for the porcini mushroom, for it is highly consumed in Africa. But if you want to export abroad, you could go for the oyster mushroom. A kilogram of oyster mushroom, for example, often costs about $20. So imagine how much you could be making if you decide to cultivate and export mushroom. Another thing you need to consider is the quality of your mushroom. If you want to export your mushroom, you should make sure you pay keen attention to the quality of your mushroom, and also the scale of your business is going to determine its success. If you want to make real profit in mushroom business, you would need to be cultivating it in large amounts so that you would be capable of making profit after paying your workers. Because one thing with the mushroom production is that it is actually labor intensive, and if you are to produce in large scale, you can't do that alone. The production of mushroom is specifically physically intensive because you will need to be repairing the substrate and gathering the mushroom yourself. So if you don't have time to do that regularly, you will need to employ people to do that for you. So the mushroom farming is not only physically intensive, but it is also time consuming as well. So if you are doing it like a side hustle, you will need to employ people to work for you. So it would be better for you to produce it in large scale so that you could get enough money to pay your workers, cover your production costs, transportation costs, and all the like, and still make good profit for yourself at the end of it. But I would advise you start with smaller batches, and once you've mastered the cultivation, you could then expand to greater or bigger scales. So here's basically the few things you're going to be needing to kickstart. You're going to be needing a mushroom hobbyist, a lab, and a preparation area. You're also going to need to invest in mushroom substrate materials. Now, once you've set aside everything and produce your mushroom, this is the most important thing to do. And I would advise you do this before embarking on your production. Mushroom, unlike other businesses, is not something you would do and look for clients or just look for random buyers everywhere. You will need to build a good network of contacts that are going to be buying your mushroom. Try to get a database of distributors, supermarkets, and even chefs in restaurants that are going to be buying from you. So mushroom farming could be capital and labor intensive, but at the end of the day, it is worth it. And the good thing with mushroom production sector is that it isn't saturated yet. So if you've been wanting to venture into a business sector that is not saturated yet, mushroom farming is definitely the business for you. The next business idea is oil palm plantation or oil palm farming. This farming idea is very lucrative because Africans consume a lot of palm oil. Most African dishes are cooked with palm oil. If you want to invest in an oil palm plantation, just give yourself 3 years of sacrifice and you are good to go. It's true you are going to be investing a good amount of money to buy the nurse seedlings or palm, and you are going to be spending on fertilizers as well to make sure it grows properly. You are also going to be spending on workers because you can't do that alone. We are talking here of a whole plantation. So basically, the key to success in this business is to be aware of the timely interventions. By timely interventions, we mean doing the right things at the right time. For example, when it's time for weeding, you should be prompt to intervene. By intervention, we also mean things like removal of tree stumps, removal of the weed, and application of fertilizers in due time. And when we talk of fertilizers, for example, you will need to lay your fertilizers when your palms are still young. But if you delay and do that later on, there are high chances that you are going to be losing a lot of plants and consequently not have good yields. So when we talk of timely interventions, there are certain things you need to do in time in order for you to have a good yield and make those millions for yourself at the end of the day. So you can basically see that all of these implies a lot of employment or labor rent. Yeah, there's this system that plantation owners often make good use of, and it is the rent of labor. Yeah, you don't necessarily need to employ workers to work for you or to permanently work for you. You could just sort out their services whenever needed. For example, if it is the weeding period, you just request for their services, they come and work and you pay them off. And when the next season comes, maybe the fertilizer season, you get them to come and do the work and pay them off. And you keep doing that over and over again whenever you need them. So another thing you will need to consider is the temperature and the climate. Oil palm plants are suitable for areas with temperatures of 25 and 28 degrees Celsius. So basically, it needs a lot of sunshine. You would also need deep soil and flat land. Once you've secured all of these, I would advise you get your own mill. This is going to enable you to transform your own raw material to the final product, which is oil, and make much more money for yourself. The next on our list is cocoa beans. Yes, this is a very lucrative business idea. This is because you could never go wrong with cocoa. For the simple fact that cocoa is consumed worldwide and is very expensive, for it is the main primary product used to produce the lovely chocolate bars and chocolate spread that all of us consume. It is also used to produce cocoa powder, which has a lot of virtues as well and is highly consumed worldwide. A kilogram of cocoa on the global market is about $3. So imagine what you could get from producing just 1,000 tons of cocoa per year. In most of my videos, some of you often come up asking, oh, where can I get this? Where can I get that? I remember in the video where I talked of 10 agricultural products that you could farm in Africa, a lot of you came under the comment section and were asking, oh, where can I get vanilla? Where can I get the sunflower seeds and all the like? So in this video, I'm going to be giving you an idea of where you could get cocoa seeds. For example, in places like Cameroon, my country of residence, we have the Sodekao. So if you're in Cameroon, go closer to the Sodekao NGO and you are going to get your cocoa seedlings or nurse plants already. If you are in Ghana, go closer to the Debiso. And in Nigeria, we have the CPA. So with the cocoa farming, you will also need to give yourself 3 to 4 years before harvesting. But the good thing is that once you start harvesting, you could have a good yield for about 25 to 30 years before you face a decline in yield or face the need to refresh your farm. But that's just for the active production. For cocoa trees could last even 100 years. So we are talking here of the period within which you could have active production or greater yields. And for you producing cocoa in Africa, I would advise you go for the Forastero cocoa species, for this is the most productive cocoa in Africa. Our next farming product here is coffee. We couldn't go on with this list without talking about coffee because all of us know the value of coffee. According to the World Economic Forum, Africa alone amounts for about 12% of the world's coffee. And within this 12%, Ethiopia and Uganda alone account for about 6 62% of it. And do you know that Ethiopia alone produces about 3% of the world's coffee, coming up immediately after Brazil, which is the world's #1 producer of coffee. Coffee, just like cocoa, takes about 3 to 4 years before starting to yield. So coffee is basically suitable in a cool, warm climate or mild climate. And when it comes to coffee in Africa, we equally have favorite coffee species. The main coffee produced in Ghana and Cameroon is the Robusta coffee, and Ethiopia focuses on Arabica coffee. So whichever coffee you are going to go for depends on whichever coffee is mostly produced in your area. So please endeavor to educate yourself on the type of coffee preferred in your area before embarking on such a project. So one of the main important factors to consider when it comes to coffee is the amount of rainfall and temperature. The suitable temperature for coffee is 23 and 28 degrees Celsius. It will also need heavy rainfall, and if there's little or no rainfall, you are going to be needing serious irrigation. And there's also an important thing you need to know. Right now, there are shade-grown coffee and sun-grown coffee, and I would advise you go for shade-grown coffee because that's the most loved coffee right now. For in the year 2021, 20% of global coffee production was shade-grown. So that is an indicator that if you go for shade-grown coffee rather than sun-grown coffee, you are going to be making more profit because that's what is consumed globally. Our next point is the rubber farm or Ficus elastica. It is also known as the Sharinga tree, and it belongs to the spurge family. And if you don't know about this tree, it is a tree that produces latex that is in turn processed to produce things like gloves, balloons, car tires, plumbing pipes, and other kitchen appliances. And one good thing with the rubber production is that the trees also produces seeds that produces oil. And this oil is often used in the production of certain soaps, paints, varnishes, and insect repellents. Another advantage with the rubber tree is that it actually requires work just for the first 3 years of its existence. Once you've crossed that stage, you basically have little or no maintenance to do at all. This is because of its deep trap roots that basically prevents any grass or weed to grow around it. So it basically takes care of itself and its environment. That's why if you go to the southwest region of Cameroon where rubber trees are grown, you are going to notice that there's little or no grass in between the trees. That is, the gaps in between the trees are very clean and neat. So just like the coffee tree, the latex tree can last up to 100 years. But if we look at its most productive lifespan, it is about 30 years. And this would depend on the feasibility of managing the tapping panels. For if you didn't know, latex is harvested in a very unique way. So basically, the harvesting is done in a very interesting way, which is basically wounding the back of the tree. Upon wounding it, the tree is going to start bleeding latex. And that's how latex is collected and taken to the factory. And the good thing with this business is that you aren't the one to do the harvesting. The latex or rubber company that you must have contacted prior to producing your latex are the ones to send their technicians on ground to come and do the harvesting. And the most beautiful advantage with the latex is that it is tapped the whole year except for the month of March, because that's the month in which it needs to be replenished. So the only thing with this investment is that you will need to wait for a period of 6 years for it to mature. And when it has attained maturity and starts producing latex, each tree can produce about 19 pounds of latex every year. So imagine having, for instance, 1,000 rubber trees in your plantation. And hey, its roots aren't useless, all right? Have you ever gone to these local communities or let's say watch Indian movies or Chinese movies where you see local tiny bridges crossing over rivers? Those are actually made from the rubber tree roots. That's how strong its roots could be. The next farming idea on our list is cotton farming. Cotton mostly thrives on heat but doesn't like too much water. Cotton also loves long period of heat with low humidity. And that's why in most West African countries, cotton will mostly do well in the northern parts of the countries. Cotton will take about 5 to 6 months to mature, and you would need cotton pickers and cotton strippers for the harvesting. And if you have black soil in your area, then consider producing cotton, for such soil is often favorable for it. And this is because its high clay content can actually retain water. And the good thing with cotton production is that you could actually have 3 harvests per year. And also, cotton loves more direct sunlight. And that's why, like I said, the northern part is most favorable because it's got a lot of sunlight that is actually intense. If you embark on cotton production, you are going to be making a lot of money, for cotton is used in a lot of things. Cotton is used for t-shirts, underwears, socks, towels, bed sheets, just to name a few. Cotton is also something that is highly exported. So there's no way you could go wrong if you invest in cotton farming. So the next thing we are going to be talking about here has to do with livestock. And we are talking here of cattle rearing. Yes, cattle farming. This is actually something that is highly consumed, but a lot of people don't know that they can embark on its farming. So we often need cattle for 2 things, either to consume as our protein source in terms of meat, or we get our dairy products from it, be it our milk and our butter, cheese, and you name it. And we know these are things that are highly used in bakeries and restaurants and even in our homes. So if you're embarking on cattle rearing, you will need to give yourself 2 years, for the cattle will need 2 years to mature, and that's when you would start making money. And let me just end here and spare you the details, and let's get right into our next point. This still has to do with livestock, and it is chicken farming. We are talking here of chicken production. Broilers, actually, yes, the production of broilers. We know chicken is one of the most consumed meats worldwide, and for the fact that it is white meat, everyone loves to eat healthy right now, and we know white meat will always go over red meat. So chicken is something that you could never go wrong with. And also for the fact that chicken is that one meat that you are very sure of what you are eating. In a lot of places when you go to eat, you aren't really sure. When you get meat served, you can't be sure 100% that you're actually consuming beef, for example, because you could be served some other animal to eat. But with chicken, you know every part of it and you are sure of what you are eating. So that's one of the reasons why people like myself would love chicken as their best meat. And there's no need going into details for this topic, for it is very broad. And we are coming up with courses wherein we are going to be giving you details on poultry production. And this takes us to our next farming idea, which is egg production. Yes. We eat a lot of eggs, be it in our homes, in bakeries, in restaurants. A lot of eggs are used daily. Is it fried egg, scrambled egg, boiled egg? Whichever form you prefer, layers will be laying eggs for a whole 3 years before needing replacement. And the good thing is, at the end of the 3 years, you aren't going to be losing your layers at all. You are going to be selling them back to be consumed as chicken. Here we call it layers, and that's what we use to prepare our most favorite delicacy, kati. We mostly use the old layers, as we love to call them. And you've maybe been eating old layers without knowing their function. They're actually the ones who lay the eggs we eat in our homes. So there's no need laboring more on that point, I guess. Let's go now straight to our next point, which is the day-old chick production, or the parent stock farming. If you are confused, don't be, for I am going to be clarifying everything to you right now. When we talk of parent stock, we talk of the mother hen that lays the egg, that produces the chick that we buy to rear and in turn sell out to people as broilers or as full chicken that we in turn eat in our homes and restaurants. I don't know if that's clear enough. In other words, parent stock is the mother of all chicken that exist. Let me put it this way. We eat chicken every day, right? And we often buy chicks, what we call day-old chicks or 21-day chicks as some would prefer. We buy them and raise them to produce mature chicken for the general consumption. But have you ever wondered where those chicks come from? Have you ever seen where they come from? Yes, that's the question. So when we talk of parent stock here, we are talking of those mother hens that produce those eggs that are being hatched to produce those day-old chicks you all go and buy to then raise. If you are still confused at this stage, don't you worry, for in this video, we can't really cover all of this. If you didn't know, my co-host here on the channel is an expert in livestock production and has over 15 years of experience in that domain. So he is actually coming up with a course where he is going to be giving you guys a full detailed tutorial on how to go about parent stock farming. And this is something that is so scarce in the whole of Africa. Do you know that in South Africa, only 3 companies actually produce parent stock? Do you know that the only other country that actually produces parent stock is Nigeria, and Nigeria has got only 1 company that does that? So if you're interested in such an investment, please stay tuned to the channel and we are going to let you know when this course would be ready. But hey, let me just let you know right away that this course is not a cheap one, okay? We are talking here of producing something that is very scarce, something that is very little or almost inexistent in most African countries. And this course is not going to be cheap, please. Don't expect it to be cheap because this is gold that we are going to be offering to you. So I am announcing it to you guys right now up front so that you guys can prepare your minds to know that this is a treasure we are about to give you for very little money to all our subscribers, and especially to those who be subscribing to our VIP membership. They are going to be having a discount as well as any of our projects. So if you would love to benefit from this discount, you know what to do. The membership is there for you. So that said, let me brief you on what it's all about. To invest in a parent stock, you are going to be needing a lot of thousands of dollars. Yes, let me get that straight here because I know my subscribers very well. They are going to be saying that, oh, it's expensive, it's not. Yes, that's one of the reasons why it is very scarce in Africa. So this business idea is actually for those who've got the money, and when we talk of money, we mean who've got real money. And if you have the money and you don't know how to go about it, rest assured for our team, we'll be there to accompany you throughout your project and supervise it for you. So just have in mind that if you would want to invest in the parent stock production, you are going to be sparing a time gap of 23 weeks to feed the parent stock to attain maturity before it starts laying the eggs. And once it starts laying, it is going to be laying for 60 weeks. And by the time you are at 30 weeks of production, you should already start thinking of getting the next batch ready for replacement. Like I said, don't be confused. When the right time comes, we are going to be releasing this course that everyone who is interested is going to be laying hold of it. And like we said, we are going to be giving you great discounts. So if you have the money and you want to embark in a business that is very lucrative in Africa and that is reserved only for high-end investors or for the wealthiest investors, the parent stock poultry farming is the right business for you. And like I said, we are here to accompany you with our expertise throughout the project. So you have nothing to be scared of investing in this sector. And I can't end this video without thanking our very first new members. Thanks for joining our membership as we are excited to start this journey with you. That said, thanks for watching this video and I'll see you on my next one.